Chris Gleason, and let's talk election fraud. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, doing great, Todd. How are you?
I really appreciate you coming on and committing to doing this weekly, because we got to fix the elections. And we're going to throw this interview on the Miami Independent later today. But what are the priorities right now, Chris? What's happening? We just had elections in Miami.
Nothing has been fixed.
Yeah.
Nothing's been addressed. And, that's the big problem, right? So we identified a great deal of fraud in 2020, 2022, 2024. We're seeing it go on today in 2025, and we can expect it to continue into 2026. We're not getting really any help here in Florida. It doesn't appear to be any kind of a priority. And I think that the election results in Palm Beach County and in Miami should be a wake-up call. And because this same pattern is what we saw everywhere else in the country in November, right?
Yeah.
Democrats, they won everywhere. It's not because they're winning the ideological war, okay? Because their ideas are a failure. And, so what is it? Well, we know for a fact, because we've been looking at the government's own data, that there's still a huge issue with vote by mail fraud. And, we're trying to hold people accountable. And
didn't Trump put out an executive order on that or something? I mean, what happened there?
Well, the president can issue out as many executive orders as he wants, but the insurrectionist judges, they can, put the kibosh on that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of lawfare going on. And so realistically, what needs to happen is, we need the people to get involved. Trump may have won, the 2024 election, but this isn't over. And, we can see already, right, that the do nothing Congress and the do nothing Senate are blocking, this America First agenda, the agenda that the American people wanted. Mm-hmm. So, we see it everywhere with the lack of confirmation of his appointees, right? He can't get a U.S. attorney appointed anywhere and confirmed, right? And is that by design? Is that the deep state, preventing him from implementing the agenda that the American people voted for? So we have to, we're fighting here in Florida, and despite not getting any help, and this is going on in the president's backyard, Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of vote by mail fraud there in all of the elections. Trump didn't even win in Palm Beach County, allegedly, right? He really did, but the fraud was so overwhelming in Palm Beach County that he didn't win, and nothing there has been fixed. So Maria Zack, her race, she lost ostensibly through vote by mail ballots. We have identified a fair amount of impossible ballots that were sent out or requested, mm-hmm. then sent out, received, and then they came back, and then they were cast. And we have boots on the ground there, and they're telling us, no, these voters, these people, they're saying that they did not actually receive a vote by mail ballot. They did not cast them. And according to the United States Postal Service's own documents, their own data, there's no way that these people should have even received vote by mail ballots. So we have things like properties classified as vacant. Mm-hmm. And that would mean that somebody has not received mail at this address for 90 plus days.
Yeah.
So if somebody isn't receiving mail at a particular address for 90 plus days, why would they request a vote by mail ballot to that address? And if they did, how would they receive it? And so there's a lot. We've pretty much narrowed it down at this point here in Florida. We did that here in Seminole, the city of Seminole election. We did it in the 2024. We did it now here again, and we have massive numbers of vote by mail ballots being sent out to undeliverable as addressed addresses, and they're being magically returned. So, we've been talking with the U.S. Postal Service criminal inspectors, and essentially we've laid it out for them. We said, look, it's pretty clear what's going on here. According to the government's own data, either somebody at the Postal Service is harvesting these and casting them, or somebody at the Supervisor of Elections office is harvesting them and casting them.
Yeah.
But the true voters of these ballots are not receiving them, and they're not casting them. And largely, we believe that they're not even requesting them either.
Yeah.
So we saw this similar pattern in Miami-Dade in 2024 in both the primary and general elections. And I think we're going to see it again if the brakes don't get put down on this.
Yeah.
So this is the uniparty striking back.
So any response from DOJ or any interaction or any, are they alive or are they?
They're on Twitter all the time. They don't like to answer emails. I haven't been invited to go talk to them, despite everything that I've done. But they're not focused right now on Florida for some reason. They feel that Florida is secure.
Just for our audience's sake, let's play a game here. If you want to know who's really serious about fixing our elections, just list all the outlets that Chris Gleason goes on regularly and talks about election fraud. So, he's not on War Room. He's not on Gateway. He's not on Breitbart. Conservative Inc. doesn't like you, Chris. Why would that be?
Because I'm very effective at what I do.
I know.
And I'm not controllable.
Yes, I know that
because
too.
I follow the truth, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's about the truth. And unfortunately, I'm doing the work of the DOJ and FBI, and I'm not getting paid to do it. Sadly,
we're doing the work of CBS, NBC, CNN, all that.
Yeah,
Your pain, brother.
Yeah. So and because a large amount of the content that I do post on X is election related and fraud related, the suppression algorithm is strong.
Yeah, and we're in that force with you too.
Yeah. So,
like right now we've got tens of thousands of across multiple accounts that we stream on X, and we got 43 people watching on X. Hundreds on Rumble and Gettr, thousands on Gettr, but on X, not so much.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Your government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
What else? What else people need to know?
So you gotta get involved locally here, and people really have to start voting in the primaries. you have to, because nobody's coming to save us. Okay. It's us. It's we, the people. And, we have to overwhelm them at the polls, and you have to overwhelm them locally, because local action yields national results. And, we're doing our best to fight this fight, but we need help. We can't do it by ourselves, and frankly, a lot of the election integrity folks nationwide, a lot of them burnt out because they've been fighting this fight, with little, we get some successes here and there. We had some great success with at least President Trump acknowledging our work with the executive orders, with the Act Blue smurfing, which, by the way, nobody in DOJ seems to have been doing anything on that yet.
That? They're all over that, right? I mean, we've seen arrests, we've seen, grand jury indictments, all of that, right? I mean,
that's not so much, but
I'm going to give Kash Patel a shirt. My son was wearing it around. He's down in Florida, and he had it's a small sapling, and below it says "Sappening." It's happening. I'm going to give Kash Patel that shirt. Anyway, what else, my friend?
So, get involved. I mean, you got to get off the pickleball court. You got to get off the golf course, and you got to get involved locally. We need more grassroots candidates. I mean, that's a real thing, because a lot of the machines candidates, they're being installed to take votes away in these primaries. And, but we need good people. And honestly, I believe that this next election, based on the things that we're doing here in Florida and nationwide, this is probably going to be an opportunity for real grassroots candidates to actually be able to matter, because of the things that we're doing in the courts to ensure that certain laws are being followed, and
they know you're looking. I mean, and so
yeah, I mean, they're probably going to end up creating more legislation to
the anti-Chris Gleason Act in Florida.
The Florida Chris Gleason Act.
Integrity Act. Chris Gleason can no longer be on X.
Yeah, I mean, it is comical, but that just goes to show you how effective we are, right? I mean, if they have to create new laws to hide the data that we use to catch them breaking the law, that means you're doing something right.
Right there with you. We did have a small success in Georgia yesterday. The state election board made the attorney for Fulton County, I believe, admit that there was no certified election in 2020 in Fulton County because none of the tabulator tapes were certified. So for the early votes, I
mean, realistically, based on the government's own data and their government's own evidence, we have not had a legally administered or legally certified election in Florida in quite some time, any election. So, I guess the question, right, that everybody really needs to be asking really about Georgia, right, is why hasn't the DOJ gone in? Why hasn't the FBI gone in and seized all the data? Why have they not seized the hard drives? Why have they not swept in and done this in Georgia yet? Why have they not done this?
Supposedly in the Fulton County warehouse, Ed Martin, I guess, requested them, and Fulton County said no. So there we go. That's it. No more to see here.
Well, maybe a federal judge, a brave federal judge, would issue out an order to the U.S. Marshals if the DOJ were to say, I don't know, file an emergency injunction.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I did stay at a Holiday Inn once, but I do know that, there's a lot of mechanisms that could be deployed if there was the will to do it.
Would
So-
you loan them? Would you loan DOJ your realtruth.ai system so that they could put these briefs together, Chris?
We could. We really could. I mean, it would. And by the way, we've made some massive improvements to it, and we've got some new boxes that are being installed, and they're going to know about it soon enough. So.
Wow. Well, how do people help you, Chris? What do you need right now?
What
do you need?
What do I need? Well, we could use some new users, some beta testers on realtruth.ai.
Okay.
We could use some folks supporting Bonji over in Palm Beach County. So tinyurl.com/help Bonji. That would be helpful. And we need people to tune into the
BONGI. BONGI, right?
BONGI. Yep.
Yeah.
BONGI. And stay tuned here at the Miami Independent, because there's going to be some really big announcements coming related to federal candidates for the upcoming election, and a whole slew of really important filings that are going to start happening.
Outstanding. Look forward to it. Chris, thank you very much, my friend. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks for having me on, Todd.